Students, I hope you all had a great and relaxing spring break. Today is Monday, March 22nd, 2021. I want to go ahead and give you guys a refresher of what we last left off on. That was finding density. A lot of you guys are familiar with the term density from learning about sink and float. We know that things with more density or things that are heavier, they're going to sink. Things with less density or things that are lighter are going to float, such as a bowling ball that would sink and a beach ball that would float. So let's go back into our lesson. The last thing we learned about was finding density. What is density? Density is the mass and volume of an object. To find density, you must first use the density formula. The density formula is shown here below. Density equals mass over volume, or D equals M over V. To begin, we're going to start by finding our mass. Finding mass is pretty simple. In the pictures below, you see two scales. To find the mass, you're simply going to read the units on the scale, and that's your mass. Mass is typically shown in grams. Next, you're going to find the volume. There's two ways to find volume. Option 1 is shown here below. For regular shaped objects such as squares or rectangles, anything that has a length, height, and a width, you're going to use this volume formula. You're going to multiply the length times the width times the height. Here's an example below. So we have this block here. It's 14 centimeters in length. It's 5 centimeters in width, and it's 5 centimeters in height. So you're going to multiply 5 centimeters times 14 centimeters times 5 centimeters to get you a total of 350 centimeters. That's the first way to find volume. The second way is to use the displacement method. This method is used for irregular shaped objects. What do you mean by irregular? Irregular shapes are things that do not have a length, height, and width, such as a rock. If you notice here in cylinder 1, our graduated cylinder is at 50 milliliters before we dropped anything inside of it. Then, once we drop our rock inside, it's going to move, the liquid in the graduated cylinder is going to move to 70 milliliters. How much water was displaced by the rock? That would equal 20 milliliters. So that would be your volume for your irregular shaped object. Now that you have found your mass and your volume of either your regular or irregular shaped object, now you can plug all of that into the density formula. Remember, the density formula is density equals mass over volume. Let's practice. Here on this block below, they already give us the grams. Our grams are 56 here, shown at the bottom. That would be our mass. Then we have to calculate our volume using the formula for a regular shaped object. Step 1 is to find the mass. The mass equals 56 grams, as shown here. Step 2, find the volume. And the volume, we're going to use the formula for a regular shaped object. And that's going to be height times width times length. And that's going to equals 280 centimeters. Step 3 is to apply the formula. And step 4 is to divide and solve. Once we plug in our information, 56 grams, 280 centimeters, we're going to divide 56 into 280, and we're going to get 0.2 grams per centimeter for this block. Like I mentioned before, if we have an irregular shaped object, we're going to use our graduated cylinder to determine our volume. So here we have a rock that has the mass of 50 grams. and the volume is taken using displacement. Find the density. So we know that our mass is given to us. It's 50 grams. Down below, we have our volume that we're going to calculate using the graduated cylinders. So our water originally started at 50 milliliters, and then it went up to 70 milliliters once the object was dropped in. So that means our volume equals 20 milliliters. Now that we have all our information, we're going to plug it in. Mass of 50 grams, volume of 20 milliliters, divided, and then we're going to get a density that equals 3.5 grams per milliliter. This concludes our video on finding density. I hope that this helped to refresh your memory about what we were learning before we went on spring break.